Good day. Welcome to another interesting episode of Tech Talk with AFO. My buddies, are you guys ready? Are you there?
Yes.
If Kesta, let me see your beautiful face. Yeah, handsome as ever. Kesta International. Have you guys noticed that something changed about me this week?
About you?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can see the glasses.
You can see the glasses. I don't like the way Kesta takes the shine of all our episodes. His glasses, people keep talking about it online. And I remember that I have my own reading glasses too. On this episode, I decided to be on my reading glasses to tell Kesta and if you guys are not the two only handsome boys in Lagos. Back in the days too, I'm also sought after. Anyways, welcome to this week's episode. Last week we talked about the effect of the new Naira note policy by the central bank and the effect of it on Nigerian businesses. And the good news is that we've seen a significant improvement compared to how difficult it was last couple of weeks when people were running helter-skelter, trying to catch up with the deadline. This week, today, we are talking about African startups and the fast-growing industries, the biggest in the industry. We'll get to know how much funding these industries get, and the opportunities for many players to still jump in. The interesting part is, before coming on this particular program, I have one of my guys that sent a pitch deck to me, also centered around a new business, a new tech business they're about to start, and they wanted me to be part of their early fundraising to get the business going. Again, that still speaks to the demand for more fintech solution. And the market is big, the market is wide. If you want to talk about the success story, the unicorns in Africa today, you obviously will be talking about the Nigerian market. So our conversation today is around fintech, and we're primarily focused on African startups. And as usual, before we move into our main topic, usually we all would like to look at other tech news and other things. But quickly before we go into other tech news, Ife and Kesta, what do you have for us this week?
Yes, we are going straight into tech in Africa, right? And the industries, the big industries that is moving at a very fast pace this time around in tech.
So we are talking of the companies that are valued over $1 billion. So we'll be giving insights as to what they do and how they operate.
It's going to be very informative, I'm sure, because before this episode, I was doing some research about different top countries in Africa, right? That are the top runners in, and Nigeria, that's in tech startups, right? And Nigeria is on the top of that list, followed by, I think, Kenya. I think Kenya. Egypt. We have Egypt, then Kenya, then South Africa, before Ghana, right? And Nigeria with 180 startups. That's 28% of Africa's funded ventures, raising a combined of, get this, 976.146 million USD.
Wow.
That's a lot. 29.3% of the continent's total.
The continent's total.
We really are the giants. We really are giants. So Nigeria remains the best funded country in Africa this was in 2022, which I'm sure still.
Can we give it up? Can we give it up to Nigeria?
Yeah.
Give it up to Nigeria.
And I think you see
give it up for the tech bros.
So many tech people, right, coming out everywhere.
So what we're saying in a nutshell is tech is the place to be, right? If you're not in tech in Nigeria, if you're not in tech in Africa, you don't know what you're missing. There's a lot of money flying around. But before we go in depth into this conversation we want to have today, let's start with our tech news as usual. And I will take the first one, which is around how Google dropped or got wiped of $100 billion in value simply because of the mistake around their AI, the Google's bird, right? Ife, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think what they are trying to do is they are trying to imitate something similar to ChatGPT. So they want to, so they want to put that in Bing. So when you Bing is also like Google. So they now want to be more advanced. So in this way, they are trying to make Bing more of a ChatGPT like AI bot. So what Bing would basically do is that, so when you search for anything, Bing is going to reply you just like the way ChatGPT does. So it is going to reply you like human. So when you go to Google and search for anything, Google will just give you websites that you can find. Yeah. But what Bing will do now is Bing will give you the exact information in any format you want. So I think that's what they are trying to implement right now.
Okay. And what was responsible for the glitch?
For what was responsible for what?
For the glitch, I mean, what mistake exactly did they experience that affected their share value?
Since December last year, Google has been in a kind of, in fact, November, December hotspots. Like I've been reading up on them, and they've been trying to kind of, even though they still remain number one, right, in AI and all of that, they have been in some kind of pressure, right, because of this ChatGPT, and it's connected, it's affiliated with Microsoft, right? So that's why they, not as though they've not been working on this bad AI bots, but they kind of pushed forward with it, and they then did this test run, right, where some people asked the AI a question, and it's in its response. I think what it was even trying to say in particular was it offered a response that the telescope was the first to take pictures of a planet, outside the Earth solar system, when in fact that milestone was claimed by the European Very Large Telescope in 2004. Well, the European's Very Large Telescope in 2004, this was the real fact, right, on this matter. But when it
gave them wrong data.
It gave them the wrong information. So people on Twitter, they really dragged it, like commented and put out, how would you? So this really affected the.
So, okay, so.
I learned something.
Sorry, I just want to. I quickly want to. It's like you invested so much. I mean, I've gone around bragging that Ife, number one is the best of everything, right? I brought all manner of people. They now start and waited to hear from Ife. And they asked Ife the simplest of questions, that Ife 1 + 1. Ife that was supposed to, he now said 1 + 1 is 3. So instantly Google shares dropped because of that simple glitch, right?
Yeah, I think creating AI bots is quite complex, and it is not something you can rush into because you are basically taking a whole lot of data. If you look at ChatGPT, I think the data, if you ask ChatGPT recent questions, it is going to tell you that it can only fetch data from 2021. So, taking a whole lot of data and trying to structure those data requires a whole lot of complex processes. It's not something you can just
Yeah.
so I think Google, they are just trying to they want to keep their top spots.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Which is shaky now. And I learned something from this whole experience, right? This, not as if I don't know it, but it's more like a realization of it, right? These big guys in like Google, Apple, Amazon, and so on and so forth, right? As much as they earn big and all, when they lose, it is so huge, right? Like when they lose, when they want to like lose stuff, it's usually just imagine 100 billion.
I mean, Tesla lost about, I think, is it close to 100 billion too? And they made like
200.
and they made like and they made like 200 and something back in like.
Yeah, but it's always a principle of life now, right? The bigger, more money, more problem, right? More money, more problem.
Problem.
Yes.
You're growing at a very fast pace, and the way it is, people expect nothing less from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? They expect you to come up with new ideas, new initiative on a daily basis.
And I really
everybody wants to.
I like what Microsoft is doing with Bing. So they are not really trying to create their own separate system. I think they are trying to work with the creators of ChatGPT to achieve what they want to achieve with Bing. So rather than just trying to, because these people, they've been working on it since I think 2008 or something, the ChatGPT guys, before they could achieve this. So I think working with them is a great way because there's a lot of things that ChatGPT does that I don't think any other company can say they just want to start doing that and achieve that within a couple of years.
Taking the lead in that field.
Yeah, so I think the best thing is just to collaborate with them and just.
All right, let's look at other tech facts, right? Wikipedia for the first one we'll look at. I used to think Wikipedia has this bunch of individuals working on it, right? But I'm getting to know for the first time that Wikipedia runs on bots. That technically it is a crowdsourced encyclopedia with text written by real people.
Yes.
But Wikipedia has 54 million pages. You want to talk about that, Kester?
Yes, even I myself, I also thought, because you have the ability to edit, right, on Wikipedia and do some. So I always felt like, as a person, you just go on Wikipedia. It's like an individual page kind of thing, my page and all of that. But finding out about this was also interesting because it means that bots really is an interesting thing. Like this.
I think what the bots are actually doing is not really. They are not really writing.
No, it's not.
What they are just doing is like section maintenance. They are handling the back end, like
the maintenance.
When to post when to
like individuals will put it out there. But even that is not a small deal.
Yeah, it is not a small deal.
It's not for a bot, right? Imagine 54 million pages. Yeah. That's a big deal.
I think we are in the age of.
And no, if you honestly sometimes you look at the effort and the sacrifice a lot of people have made in the tech space just to make things easy for humanity, things easy for just imagine the world without internet today. The information we've gotten from Wikipedia for how many years that they've been in operation, right? And that information is compounding every day. And it is just simply because some people want to solve a problem, not because of anything, but they just felt that humanity comes before anything, right? I mean, today the amount of information you can find online. It's now a question of you wanting to learn and not it's you don't have an excuse again to, I mean, education these days, you probably can get everything on the University of Internet.
Yeah,
Yes,
everything.
that's true.
If on Bitcoin, what do we have on Bitcoin?
Yeah, there's a limited number of Bitcoins. I think that's the general knowledge. We have about 21 million Bitcoins to be exact. So
It only makes
if there were limitless number of Bitcoins available, I don't think Bitcoin would still maintain that price,
value.
that value. So
What's Bitcoin as of today?
Bitcoins are no, I think they are $22,000 for one Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure.
Check. I think they'll be around 2022 right now. 2022.
Do we have folks mining from Nigeria?
Do we have miners in Nigeria? I don't think so. Do we have miners in Nigeria? Sure. I don't think we have miners in Nigeria because it takes a lot of energy to run Bitcoins these days.
Right, because I remember I have this startup that is trying to set up a mining center, and they plan to set it up in Kanji, around Kanji Dam, right? Yeah, and the reason, of course, is because they want to have access to uninterrupted power supply.
I really
right?
like El Salvador. So El Salvador is a country that has accepted Bitcoin as their mode of.
In fact, I want this new week to see the effect of the Bitcoin fluctuation to the economy. I really would like to read up on that. Kester, what do you have on Amazon?
Okay, so there quickly. Yes, they had a different name, or they almost had a different name when they came out. And it's funny because it's when I read it, it was childish kind of and funny because it was from the name was from the idea of abracadabra. You know, this voila magic stuff, because he felt like having people, you know, shop on something online and having their product delivered to them in their doorstep was a magical concept at the time, right? So then came up with the cadabric incorporation. Cadabric incorporation. So, but then he later changed it to Amazon, which I think is far better. It's far better.
Yeah. Right. You know, so it's if you really look at how the dedication innovators put into it, how they are self-driven. Look at all the success stories you have around the world today, especially in the tech space. Money is not central to why they are in business or why they are doing what they are doing. It is always about solving a problem, making a difference, changing the world, making this world a better place, right? Challenging status quo, So this is what drives it, and I'm glad that the same spirit, we have it in Nigeria today. If there's anything that gives people like me hope about Nigeria, is because of my fellow tech practitioners, right? I'm always happy when I see the effort the young Nigerians are putting into making a change in Nigeria. Today, our topic is around African tech startups. And because that window is still open, there's still a lot of problem we can solve in Africa. Right? A lot of problem. Africa is begging for, so many solutions that technology can drive. Right? If you listen to to talk to investors, right? the reason why they call Africa the next frontier, right? Nigeria, one of that country everybody is looking at, is simply because of that opportunity that exists for people to tap, right, in Africa. So our conversation around today, we were looking at the mobile space and the fintech space. According to the World Bank, there were over 400 million mobile money accounts in Africa as at 2020. 400 million mobile money accounts in Africa as at 2020. You can imagine what that would be by now. Companies leading this charge include, last week I mentioned M-Pesa, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So M-Pesa is also one of the success story in Africa. It's a mobile payment and financial service provider that operates in Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, and other countries, right? So Kenya, Tanzania, the East African, because of their culture, if you can do something in Kenya, trust me, Tanzania will embrace it. There's a way they work together. Another success story, of course, we know we have the e-commerce and delivery service, and we know the fantastic job the likes of Jumia are doing in this space, right? Just imagine, what delivery would look like without the logistic business in Nigeria today. You know how many people in business today, thanks to what e-commerce what e-commerce is doing, right? The e-commerce in Africa alone is estimated to be worth over $75 billion by 2025, right? I mean, logistics, moving around. So there's still a lot of opportunities in that space, a lot of problems to be solved. Jumia, Konga, these guys are still in their infancy. So many opportunities and changes that can still happen, right? If you also go into the agriculture space, right, talking about agri technology, market in Africa is estimated to be worth over $10 billion by 2025. So, guys, I want us to look at the opportunities around technology startups, right? If I want you to take the lead on this, I want to know where you and Kester will be coming from today. Do you understand? Now that we know we have the conservative Kester and we know we have the progressive tech progressive and tech conservative Kester. So when we say tech startups and the opportunity, what is it that people should take very seriously about it?
Yeah, so I think the way I see things in Nigeria is that we are really trying, right? We are adopting technology, and but we have to be more deliberate about it also. So because I can see that we are not interconnected enough. Because if we are interconnected, we would have solved the major issue we are currently having as regards the use of cash. So we would have solved that, but I think we still have a long way to go. So if you look at Jumia, I think Jumia currently operates in 14 countries. So we have Jumia that supports Nigeria in the e-commerce aspect. We have Paystack and Flutterwave, so that they are acting as a digital payment. So, but my own fight is that I think the government is not supporting these guys enough. Because if they are getting that support from the government, because if you look at Paystack, I think Paystack was, when they did their pre-seed, I think they were funded by both US angel investors and European angel investors. So I did not see any African billionaire or Nigerian politician that was supporting their cause. Instead, they were just trying to put them down. So I think CBN and the government, they should support these guys, and because they are really doing a great job. And Dela did it without the support of the federal government. And yeah, they are developing talent, developing a lot of pushing out developers out there. You can see a young kid now, a young kid can code, can literally develop a simple e-commerce website. And now we now have tools that can now uh, make us adopt these technological cultures. And I think the government is actually not supporting us in that aspect. We are literally doing everything ourselves. So what I just need from the government is the support, because if we have their support, then we can ensure more interconnectedness.
I think you are right. But speaking to what Mr. Taufik in about two or three episodes we talked about the government, right? Not relying on the government for your own to do your own thing, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, that has been my default setting, even before dying and that. But here is why I said I think you are right, because in other parts of the world, this is a normal thing. I don't know if you know about Shark Tank.
Yeah, Shark Tank
and all that stuff, right? Although, okay, I'll share a little story. Because me personally, I have found myself in multiple startups, tech startups, right? And happening to be one of the key people that will have to make some certain moves and all that. So I have first-hand experience, especially when there is no funding, right?
Yeah.
How draining it can be, because you then have to be more witty and creative with your thinking, and how to come up with strategies that would break, would be disruptive, that without your money, you would have disruptive ideas that would just make it work. So sometimes you would have to break your process down into bits in order for you to, from this milestone to bit by bit, just because you don't have funding, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to limit yourself with there's no money. That's why you have to do something.
You have to do something.
And this is the reality for not just me, many people out there. I have registered myself in Lions Den last year, right? And we went there. They have several stages of it.
Lions Den.
They have several stages. So I went through all of them, passed. They gave me someone I can be talking to in their team. We spoke. We're supposed to have one early or mid last year where we go out pitch business idea and all of it. In fact, myself and someone else was a partner, right, in that company. And in his own company, I was a partner there. And we were both accepted in after we submitted our pitch deck and all. And all in all, they called and said, okay, this and this will no longer happen. They postponed to November. November last year, no talk, nothing till now, right? My point is that, in fact, before I come to my point, let me still come to Next Titans. I don't know if you know of Next Titans, right? This one, my partner is single-handedly went. In fact, he first went for one in 2021. He got in, they have different stages, and there's a stage where for like 10 people or so, they'll give you 3 million. And for the other people, they'll put you in a house where like BB Nigeria, something like that. Oh. So he got to the stage where he got the 3 million, right? And till today, they've not given him that 3 million. This is in 2021, we're in 2023. Now, he went for another audition, for another session in another type of Next Titan stuff again last year. And everything went. So, okay, now it's time for me to come to my point. So my point is, a lot of this stuff, right, it is something related to what I said last week about Nigeria and the government. And a lot of this stuff, they are set up for the sake of it, that it is up there. There is a system. Okay, when you call them out, that's what are you doing in place? They will list it out for you. You are doing Lions Den, you are doing. Although Lions Den is not the government thing, Next Titans is not the government thing, but some of them are affiliated with government, right? Like Next Titans, I can say for a fact, it is, right? So I think Lions Den is with EcoBank. So these people, they put these things out there, even individuals, not only governments now, just to. But when you now check at the bottom line, like last, let me go local, right? Like last, the real thing is not being done. It isn't. So it is left for us now as the tech and people, tech aspirants and all of that to make our way ourselves. That is
thank God to the access we have now to European investors.
Kester, I think I was waiting for you to land, but you landed well, right? You landed well because I was just waiting. I really want to come after you, but looking at how you landed, I'm not. I can only but just buttress what you've been speaking to. At the end of the day, right? Waiting on government is a waste of time, right? If you really have anything good that you want to push out, right? In the last couple of episodes, some episodes away, especially when we had Taufik join us, the conversation was more around, can we move away from what Nigeria wants to do for you and focus on what you want to do for Nigeria? What you want to do for Nigeria. Now, if you look at the statistic I've shared with us in terms of what has happened in the tech space, right? Looking at the funding that has the funding that Africa has attracted in the last 10 years, a good chunk of that investment came to where in Africa? Nigeria. And it's because of the successes that have been recorded, consistency about so many technology companies. You mentioned the likes of Andela, you mentioned the likes of Paystack, you mentioned the Jumia experience and so many other opportunities. Every day now you are talking about someone that got an investment of X amount, right? We also have it happening in the health space. We are having it in the agri space. It is because we have individuals that have realized that to be dependent on government is really going to be a waste of time. Does that mean government doesn't have a role to play? Yes, of course, government has a role to play. Okay? But that role that you want government to play, it also comes back to the definition of government. Who is government? It is you, Ife, it is AFO, it is Kester, right? And the earlier we in the tech space also understand that our involvement in government to see the policies that would help what we are doing, the earlier we understand that, the better for us. And we have to be actively involved. If you have a problem, you've identified a problem, fix it. Identify problems, fix it. Attract funding. Waiting for almighty government to just come out looking for you and beg you, I want you to be a startup. Nobody begs anybody to be a startup. Nobody begs anybody to be successful. It has to be your own self-drive, right? The Paystack of this world, the Andela of this world did not achieve whatever they've achieved if they were not self-driven. As we speak today, Kester, if you sit on your internet and start digging, there are so many, many grants, so many, many, many funding available in Nigeria and everywhere. I have a friend, I'm not going to mention his name. He's a specialist when it comes to collecting cheap money. $1,000, $5,000, bim. He's just getting all those money around. In fact, I at a point I told him, I said, you are running a startup scam. That's what you do all the time. There's always one new idea this guy will launch, and none of this idea get, gets to deliver anything. But he's so wired and structured just to take advantage of us, all this available money. And the same thing applies to, when we talk about education, right? Scholarship and what have you. Every day, people are getting scholarships, fully paid for, everything.
Yeah.
Right? It's a question of the information that is available to you and your effort, your drive, the grit, the sincerity of purpose, your dedication to achieve what you set your mind to achieve.
Yeah.
We're saying to you right now, I'm sure there's this young chap I'm talking to right now. I'm telling you the opportunity that is available in Nigeria and Africa. People are interested in investing in Africa. People are getting money every day because of that opportunity is so obvious. In the tech space, you are getting money every day. What you just simply need to come up with is that unique value proposition and being at the right place at the right time. There are so many tech hubs around Lagos. So many tech hubs. Conversation around opportunities going on every day. The opportunity is wide. And like I said at the beginning, I said that we have too many problems to solve. Identify the problem you want to solve and be committed to it. And as usual, trust. When you come up with your idea, the first person you talk to about that idea is most likely going to tell you that the idea will not work. And don't get what's it called? Don't allow anybody to hold you back or affect your drive. You have to be convinced. I need that energy to come out in us. Talking about people that are doing a lot of effort, private initiative. Tony Elumelu Foundation. You know how many entrepreneurs that have gotten their $5,000 grant? How many businesses? Just listen to different, tech stories. People that have got, and the good part of Tony Elumelu Foundation is that it is not even just about technology they are interested in, right? The problem you want to solve. When the initiative of Tony Elumelu Foundation started, I think, it's not even I think, I'm one of the first beneficiary of Tony Elumelu Foundation. But when in our own case, it was actually at the infancy, when it was still being conceptualized. It was a partnership between All World of Harvard. It was an investment group from Harvard, associated with Michael Porter, a professor in Harvard University, right? And they were particular about fastest growing business around the world, right? And they were looking for someone to partner, and Tony was at the early stage of setting up that Tony Elumelu Foundation. And they worked together to identify fast growth companies with fast growth potential in Africa. The conversation we had with Tony, for some of us, was a life-changing conversation. I'm sure there's still going to be an episode I was going to talk about when in a strategy session with Tony, he used my business as an example, as a case study, and we really dissected. And some of those conversations I had with Tony in that particular strategy session was responsible for some of the things that I've achieved, Zeke Teko coming to West Africa and all of that. So what am I saying? Speaking to our audience, our youth listening, you have an idea, waiting on government is not, it's a waste of time, right? Because you are the government to even start with. So how can you say you are waiting for yourself when you are actually government, right? Today, Lagos State will brag about the size of the tech industry in Lagos. Oh, Microsoft is in Ikoyi, Google is in VI. All of this tech are all in Nigeria, are all in Lagos because of what Lagos has been doing. Yeah, they can brag about it because some guys saw the need to do something about it. When you do the right thing, government doesn't have a choice, they will follow.
Yes.
That still doesn't mean that government should not do what they should do. Don't get me wrong, go right before and the what's it called? The youth starts coming after me that AFO said government should not do anything. I'm just saying, hello, let's put government, forget about government and let's focus, let's engage ourselves. Let's create the government we want. Is it in the tech space? Startups has a lot of role to play to change Nigeria. And I'm happy a lot of that is happening already. Yeah. It is happening already. We're just trying to call some people's attention to it that, hey, something is happening somewhere. You are not taking this thing serious. So people are catching out. So last week, for example, we talked about 6 figures, right? Earning from Nigeria, right? And myself and Ife, we are working on one project like that we hope that some of the conversation we've had, we can implement, right? So still speaking on the opportunity in the tech space and what is happening, because the essence of what we're having, why Techtalk-With-AFO is primarily focused on tech, is for people to see the opportunity in the tech space. Kester, you want to jump in?
Yes, I agree totally with what you've been saying, honestly, because just like how I ended the statement I made earlier, it's really boils down to you and how far you are willing to go in whatever idea you have. First of all, your tech idea in whatever industry must be something that is solving a real problem, right? And there are me that I'm even talking here. I'm currently in the platform. It's a very popular platform. I'm sure most people will be aware of it. Y Combinator, right? Y Combinator, I don't think I've ever...
Sorry for jumping in. Paystack is a product of Y Combinator.
Wow. Okay.
Go on.
Okay. So I don't think I've ever been in a community that is as helpful, let me use that word, as that in terms of startup, like business startup, right? If you, for example, if you're a developer, right, and you're working on doing some things and all, there is a lot. They have conference, they do some conference, they invite some people that would have had experience in whatever aspect, right? They have them come talk to you. You even get newsletters on. So my point is that truly there are platforms. If you just do your research, even these international investment platforms, right? I've also gone on many of them and tried, and it's just you need some type of some level of requirements, right, that you would need to have, right, before you can get through on some of them. And some may be difficult, I would say, for a person that is just starting from scratch. So the main thing is have something going.
Kester, I disagree with you when you said it can be difficult, right? It is not difficult. I'm telling you, if it is not difficult, right?
For fintech businesses, I think it is quite difficult now because for digital licensing, CBN has they said you have to have over 1 billion to get the license for your digital product. So if you are creating a software that is going to help a lot of people, you need to have like 1 billion naira
So-
just
so-
to get the license.
No, it's not difficult.
The development.
It is. It is not. Okay, so if
How many?
let me
Imagine me building a software. Where do I want to see 100 million naira? No, not even talk of 1 billion naira to get a digital license for that. So we should have a level playing ground.
I said it's not difficult.
The reality is that in some level, in some aspects, especially looking at how things can be in Nigeria compared to other people in other countries, right? Relatively speaking, it can be quite difficult to get some of these requirements. And I'm speaking strictly based on the requirements. Some of these things, right? So because when you find yourself in a pinch and you don't know anybody, you don't have any uncle that knows someone, or you are alone.
Oh, sure.
I'm not even talking about. I'm not even talking about.
Oh my goodness, you guys are just.
I'm talking about the regulations that are limiting some certain startups.
Everything is related. To me, everything is related, right? Everything is related because when you hit certain roadblocks and you find that for this thing that they say I should bring, I have to do so and so to get it. And looking at where you are in reality, you just can't have it. You're right at that point in time. So it becomes a difficult thing.
I mean, if the government is telling me I have to have about one
laziness. I'm listening.
Where do I want to get
lazy?
Deployed.
Okay. Boo knows what he's saying when he said Nigerian youths are lazy. Lazy. I'm listening.
There's something we're not.
Yeah, maybe there's something we are not really getting.
Oh, these boys are lazy. Oh, Nigerian youths are so lazy. We need to dedicate an episode to talk about the lazy Nigerians with their sense of entitlement. Everything government should do this, government is not doing this, it is so difficult, blah blah blah. Excuse me.
About their policy.
Excuse me. Okay, do you guys want to listen? Lazy boys, do you want to listen to me or not?
I want to. I really want to.
Okay. So, nothing comes for free, right?
Yes.
And you can see how contradictory this can be. Almost everything is free, but it still doesn't come for free. You have to work very hard to get it. Okay? And to have access to it, you just really need to know how to ask. But generally speaking, people don't know how to ask and make demands, and it's available. And I'll give you examples that you guys can relate with, right? Examples you can relate with. Let me use, just refresh your memory. Back in 2006, 2007 to be precise, there was this, and that policy still exists up to tomorrow. CBN, the same Central Bank of Nigeria, that a particular percentage of every bank's funding should be dedicated to startups. Don't ask them questions. Don't talk about collateral or what have you. Just give the money. That was what that policy said. And in 2006, yes, we have the internet, but when you go to the internet, you really don't have content that are Nigerian related because things are not as, open as it is now, right? So one thing you don't want to joke with newspapers. And I normally will save money to buy newspapers. I don't joke with it. Punch and Guardian are my favorite. And it was from this newspaper that I saw someone writing about that policy and banks not giving out that money. CBN asked them to dedicate X percentage and they are not releasing it to startups. If I picked a pen and paper and then I was in the middle of a crisis, I wrote to all banks in Nigeria that CBN said that money is with you and that money should be released to startups. I don't have collateral and I have right to that money. One of the banks I wrote, Ife, is a bank called GT Bank. Sometimes when people share their experience with GT Bank and the problems they're having with GT Bank, I'm always like, I didn't have this type of problem because I wrote all Nigerian banks. I wrote all their MD. Mr. Tayo Aderin Okun of blessed memory responded to my letter. And my letter was minuted to Mrs. Femi Oshinoga. She's still in GT Bank up till tomorrow. Then she was the head of a unit somewhere on Awolowo Road, right? To give my letter and attention. Now, the point I'm saying is we don't ask questions. We also have SMIDAN. SMIDAN is a federal government initiative. There's also a new policy that which is managed by the Office of the Vice President of you coming up with proposals, coming up with ideas that will be funded. But our excuse all the time or our assumption is, oh, this money, the government will not release it and all of that. And coming back to what Ife was talking about, fintech solution, right?
Yeah.
You must understand where government is coming from. You want to provide a service that has to do with people's money, right? You want to run a fintech solution. If anything happens to people's money and people's money are also not protected, what are you going to say to government? But guess what? In the fintech space today, when you approach, you have a solution you want to run. You can run your solution on Flutterwave. Paystack was a solution on Flutterwave. Are you aware? It was Flutterwave that has the license at some point, and Paystack was more like a white label version of it.
Yeah.
They were riding on the existing license of Flutterwave.
Yeah.
And a lot of partnership like that exists. Meaning at the beginning, and it happens everywhere in the world, right? Virgin Mobile, if you read the story of Richard Branson, Virgin Mobile started on BT. I have the solution. You know, you don't have the license, but you can approach someone that has the license. And what you're bringing to the market is something that is unique to you. I have my own similar story to that as well. There's a solution I read about that is called VPN, Virtual Private Network.
Yeah.
Running in UK that you actually can make free calls. Free calls, like you don't have to pay when you are on that same network, the same like 10 lines, 20 lines on the same network, you can call one another for free. I wasn't a lazy youth like Ife and Kester are trying to be at that particular time. I was reading, digging out information. I just looked at it and I said, so this solution exists. And I went to Intercellular and I said, Intercellular, I know this solution exists and I would like to resell this solution. Intercellular said they don't have a solution like that. Their platform is not set up to operate like that. I went to Starcoms. Starcoms said, we're about to launch a product like that. We are designing a product like that. I said, if you are designing a product like that, I want to be your broker. And that's why sometimes some people will say SB Telecoms back then was Starcoms broker. SB, Starcoms broker, right? I was going back and forth. The first time I spoke to Starcoms, they said no. Second time, no. Third time, no. Fourth time, no. Fifth time, no. Then I kept coming back, okay, if you will not allow me sell, okay, let me try and resell your own solution for you. To cut the long story short, I got an approval from Starcoms with my consistency to resell that VPN solution. Starcoms was calling his own CUG. I was calling my own SUG, Special User Group Service. Starcoms was selling phone. I was giving out phones for free free phones for free calls. So the point I'm trying to make to you is, trust me, there would always be roadblocks anywhere. The UK you want to reference, the Europe you want to reference, America or Canada you want to reference. If you talk to lazy youths like you and Kester in Canada and what have you, those ones who will come out and say, oh, the government is not doing this, the government should do this. And about the same time, some people are cashing out and all of that. The Fair and Kester that I use in that context, not you guys are amazing, you're super guys, right? But I'm just saying that the same, because what you guys are saying are based on information we got from our viewers, our youths and all of that. And these are the people I'm speaking to. Okay? That, trust me, all those problems existed for the founders of Flutterwave, for the founders of Paystack. If you ask Inyo, you guys know Inyo now.
Yeah. Inyo,
right? If you
I think
right, if yes, if you ask him, he's going to tell you what I'm telling you. This, when they were not seeing the problem, they were just more fixated about the solutions they want to solve. Flutterwave did not get, Flutterwave and Paystack at some point were not regulated by CBN.
Yeah.
CBN was playing a catch up with them. Government will play a catch up with you. Now, government will brag around and start making noise around, Paystack and Jumia and all of that. Government will not come out to tell you how they made life miserable for them at the beginning.
Exactly.
You understand? No, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. For example, when MTN had issues in Nigeria, South African government had to come to Nigeria to come and negotiate on behalf of Nigerian government. When Flutterwave had issues in Kenya, government will have to go with Flutterwave that, come on, this is our business, because the income that Flutterwave will declare at the end of the day, government will make out of it, right? So the same thing I was telling one of my guys, my mentees that reached out to me about setting up a business, right? And he has a fintech idea and all of that. I said, for starters, I want to be sure that you have that resilience is there, right? That tenacity is there, okay? Because what you have in paper right now, theoretically, when it comes to practical, is totally going to be different. Are you ready for that? Very important questions we must ask ourselves all the time. Are you ready for that? Because nothing will come cheap. Ife and Kester, are you guys with me? It seems you are sleeping.
No. Can I say something?
Yes. Say something.
Okay, so
on this one, I'm with Boo Boo. On this one, I'm with Boo Boo.
Okay, so
lazy Nigerian youths.
From hearing you talk now, the funny thing is, okay, let me not go there. That would be too deep.
Go there.
Let me not go there. Let me just speak.
Go there.
I'll just speak plainly, and I'm sure whatever I will say will shock everybody. So I think, in fact, I believe you are right when you say, let me speak about myself now, right? That I am lazy. No. I'm trying to get something, because personally, I was telling this to a very good friend of mine a few days ago. I've had this personal conflict within myself, right? That to the outside, right? It looks like I'm so busy. There is a lot of things I'm doing. And in truth, I am. This is very complicated, but I'm trying to be as plain as possible. In truth, I am. I'm actually, there's so many things that is from this table to this table to this table, I have to do it and all. Right. So people see me and be like, this guy is busy, blah, blah, blah. But deep down in myself, like that I am still, or that I am at this level I'm at right now, I know it has everything to do with the fact that I'm not doing my best. I know myself that even though most times I go through mental stress where I just crash, right, and all of that, but in my application of myself, I'm not doing the best. I know this. So when I say all these things, and this is me being plain and as honest as I can get, right? So when I say all these things and do all these things, these are things I've done and processed and all, but at the end of the day, I know that I could do much more, right? So hearing you put it out as bluntly as you have, right? That in fact, when I was talking, the first thing that you said, lazy, it struck me like because I've known that at the back of my head that are you really doing it? Are you really doing everything you can, right? But then from your experience point of view, and same with I'm sure every other person that has gotten to a certain level in terms of business success, right? That's how they would see it too, because they must have put in so much to get to where they are. They must have. So I would agree with that. And it's just a call. This is just a call out to myself to really rearrange my process because that is just the issue. So I'm sure this wasn't what.
I like the fact that you see yourself as an example, right? But trust me, you're not even in the bracket of those that I'm really, really speaking to. The people I'm speaking to, they know themselves. They would be on this. I'm hoping that this video will get to them. Somebody will share this content, and they know I'm talking to them. Very little set of people. If what do you have to add to what Kester has just shared? And thank you for that, Kester.
I think everything still boils down to your personal self, your personal development. I've known Apo for a very long time, and I've studied him enough to know that getting to his level. Sometimes I used to, I'm being honest. Sometimes I used to look at Apo and I'll be like, can I get to this? I used to compare my brother because I think my brother, and I'm very blessed to be surrounded with people like Apo, people like my brother. When they set out to do something, I think, and that is something me myself, that is something I can see that I'm lacking. So I might start up to do something, and at the middle of it, I'll just be like, let me just. But people like Apu, people like my elder brother, they just do it. And when I see Apu, like even if the road is so bleak, he's still going to like want to let's just try to the end to the end. Let's just so I think that's a good thing. And talking about tech startups, I still think uh, I'm still going to say the government should really give tech startups some playing ground, some level playing ground, and like come about like limiting these strenuous policies that they are giving tech. Because if you look at US, you can literally develop anything, and that's why we have most billionaires like come from USA, because USA gives you this freedom to express yourself, to express your anything you are going about to develop, to express your idea. So that's just what I've been speaking on. Like in Nigeria, we really need to have this freedom of access to resources, freedom of access to opportunities, and coupled with the government support. Not that if I'm creating something, then government will just see that, oh, I'm creating this thing, then they will try to like develop the same thing, thereby bringing down my own. So this collaboration is just what I'm speaking of.
I agree with you that government has a role to play, right? And we cannot we that by I mean everybody knows that whatever you want to do, if you really don't have a good, because government is like a framework, right?
Yeah.
Do you understand? If the framework is not right, the outcome would also not be right, and that's why we need government um, to step up their game. Okay, and like I used to say, that word government has a misrepresentation. The earlier we understand that government is you, government is me, the better. Whatever you see, whatever challenges you are complaining about government today is a reflection of all of us.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that's why we have to be instrumental to seeing those changes. It's not enough just to complain. You really also have to be part of it. Then back to some of them, I mean, particularly on policy, people will complain about a policy that you've not even seen, you've not read, right? You're just working with the assumption that government is not supportive, right? By the time you sit down to look at the CBN approvals and the CBN licenses, you'll be shocked that there's a license that anybody can tap into. I remember when we were trying to do something with NIPS, so many things you can develop working with NIPS directly that you need no cover, right? With NIMC, you need no cover. APIs that you can things you can have access to develop different application and solution. But there's this assumption that Nigerian government is not supportive. We have that and I think it also has to do with the stereotype that is available. But trust me, and that was why I told somebody, I said, if you want to be successful in Nigeria, the first thing you must do, Ife and Kester, this might sound, if what I'm about to say now, it will shock you, but just do it. Start watching NTA news alone. I'm serious. Start watching. You see, you're laughing. I know. Honestly, you'll be shocked and surprised with things that is available in Nigeria that you don't know.
I think NTA is one network that is always positive about the government. I think that's.
I said just focus your time and start watching NTA. There you would get to know conferences, seminars, applications, things that government is doing that you are not familiar with. Do you understand? So for example, there was one example of the people were did a report on different what's it called, people that have involved in terrorist acts. Somebody said I did this because they said somebody insulted Prophet Muhammad, right? And the question was put to him, and they said, "Did you read the story where this guy insulted Prophet Muhammad?" He said no. People act on things that they have no information about. Go to CBN policy, look at their policy. Go to SMIDAM, you'll see information. People that want to go into business of exporting, by the time you go to the ministry in charge of trade and investment and what have you, you will see information that is available that is not known to you, right? So we have to start by first fighting that laziness of getting information, knowing how to ask, going after things. We believe we're Nigerians. I have rights, the same right that Buhari has, that Tinubu has, is the right that I have. And you have the right to ask all these questions. So, to summarize what the conversation around the opportunity around technology and startups, we've shared, several success stories in Africa and Nigeria, and it's going on every day. If you go to what's it called, American embassy, the US, UK High Commission, so many tech support initiative that people can access. We don't take advantage of. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Right? That we don't take advantage of. And the more we access the information, the better for us. All right?
Yeah.
Guys, what do you have for our audience to wrap up this session? If people want to find us, where can they find us?
Okay, you can find us as usual across all our social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. And our handle is Techtalk-With-AFO. And on Instagram, you can also find us at AFO_Karamsi. On LinkedIn, Afolabi Abiodun. That's AFO.
So subscribe to our YouTube channel, Techtalk-With-AFO. You are going to be seeing a lot of content, a lot of YouTube shorts. So that you are going to be worldwide. And engage. You can make your comments. You can engage us. We are going to reply you. And if we see that you're really making a lot of sense with our comments, we might likely invite you to one of our talk shows. So just keep engaging us
on
and subscribe.
Spotify, Google Music, Google Podcast rather, and so on. So we're there, we're everywhere.
Yeah. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, make your comments and engage us. So if your engagement is interesting, would likely invite you to Techtalk-With-AFO to have a conversation with AFO and Kester and Ife. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us. You see our YouTube shorts also. So AFO, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I do. My closing remark will be in two parts. The first one is targeted at our hardworking Nigerian youths, who are very committed to making the best out of themselves. They understand that to be successful, it is about your dedication, it is about your tenacity, it is about your grit. The opportunity is out there for you to grab, and a lot of people are doing fantastically well already in the tech space, entertainment, music, art and crafts, agriculture. Very hardworking guys, and they are doing very well, and they've gotten recognition not just in Nigeria but globally. Yeah. And these are the success story we like to identify with and appreciate. I also similarly want to talk to the lazy Nigerian youth. The lazy Nigerian youth that would never see anything good in Nigeria apart from complaining. Everything they want to be spoon-fed. There's no light, there's no road. Can you forget about that now? It is never too late for you to also move to this other side. Move to this other side. A lot of people have been lucky to, realize that for you to get the best out of yourself, you have to first talk to yourself first, instead of making it someone else's problem, right?